Hello, and welcome to another episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. This is Beriathan of the Citadel Guard of Gondor, and we are here back in Flooded Isengard. We have finished the epic, we have finished Volume 3, but we can technically go and start Volume 4, but we have a couple quests left with Quickbeam and the other Ents. So let us do that. Actually, I've been giving some thought to that. On the previous episode, I told you I wasn't sure whether to do that or not. I think it's worth doing for a couple reasons. We can knock a few deeds off and get some extra Virtue XP. Speaking of which, let me use my Virtue XP from today. Awesome! So confidence is capped. Now we can cap Valor. Alright, so yeah, we can get some extra deeds and get some more Virtue XP. That's the one. But there is also something else that I think it's really important to keep in mind. Volume 4 will begin with Eowyn at Dan Harrow, and will have you crossing the paths of the dead and going after Aragorn and the Grey Company through Gondor. But if you've read the books, you will realize that there are a lot of things missing in between Flooded Isengard and the Paths of the Dead. So the first thing that we're missing, well, we're missing a lot. After Théoden King and all his men with the company, the members of the Fellowship in here left Isengard, in the books, they were joined at the forts by the Grey Company. After leaving Isengard, we already talked about that. But before the Grey Company reached them, they actually stopped for a moment. And let me see if I can show this to you. Oh, come on. So they left Isengard for the Gap of Rohan. Jesus, for the Gap of Rohan here, and they stopped at Dol Baran. We've already been there. At Dol Baran, Pippin looked into the Palantir, and that's what, well, set in motion a lot of different things. And Aragorn, well, Gandalf left with Pippin towards Minas Tirith. Aragorn stayed with Théoden and the Rohirrim. They were joined by the Grey Company after crossing the Fords of Isen, and then they made their way to Helm's Deep. In the Hornburg, Aragorn looked into the Palantir and rested with Sauron, revealed itself, and that's what prompted Sauron to attack Minas Tirith. And it was a hasty attack, and that's one of the reasons why they were able to defeat Sauron's army at Minas Tirith, because he didn't use all his power in the hurry of attacking as fast as he could. So after Aragorn looked into the Palantir, he left the Hornburg through the plains of Rohan towards Dan Harrow, and from there they crossed the Paths of the Dead, and Théoden returned to Dan Harrow with his men by going through the mountain path, which was a little bit slower. And then at Dan Harrow, the mustering of the Rohirrim took place, and then the Rohirrim also rode to Minas Tirith. So all of that we don't get to see in a game, not even as a session play or an instance, nothing. So from what I remember, because I read a forum post made of Lions a couple months ago, and from what I remember, he said something along the lines of, well, on one hand, those events in the book were very specific in the sense of what happened and who was here, so there was not a lot of room for us to include our characters in all of that. And on the other, well, we don't need to be necessarily in every single moment of the story. So that's why Volume 4 skips all the way to the Paths of the Dead. And the way in which I'm thinking this is Beriathan, after leaving Isengard, instead of going with the Rohirrim to Dol Varan, stayed with the Ents a little bit, helped them even with some matters, and then he returned to Down Harrow, and that's when he learned everything that passed while he was working with the Ents. So that's what I'm going with, and that's why I think it's also worth doing some of these quests with the Ents. Room. The orcs shall not bother us again. Let the tree killer rot in his tower, or come forth and face us once more. All he has sown has been laid to waste. Now then, Beriathan, I have one more thing to ask of you before I journey to the forest.
You should not be giving your right name away like so.
You see, little one, I mourn for all that have suffered at Saruman's hands. For Beachbone was not the first, but I hope that he is the last to endure such horror. Long ago, when Saruman and his orcs first sought to cut into the forest, 3 of my Rowan friends bore the brunt of that choice. The orcs felled them all, and left only the faintest debris in their wake. If Saruman is to be punished for his misdeeds, I would ask that you seek what remains of my friends. We need to look for Orofarne, Lazimista, and Carnimedius seed. Let us open this bundle of seeds. Good. Now, before I forget, first of all, let us get our worsted in here, but I think I'm also gonna take this smell the roses. We're not using that one. I'm not sure if we will at some point, but well, since Beriathan has recovered his Citadel guard gear, I think at some point he will also start riding Limbot again. So Nordalat, which is the worsted that we've been riding, I've also been giving some thought about that because I do want to get back on Limbot. So that means I will also equip the Citadel guard gear on my worsted. What I'm not sure about yet is if I'm going to roleplay that steed as also being Limbot, even though it's the worsted, or if I'm still gonna keep the differentiation between Limbot and the Nordalat. And believe it or not, the reason why I'm still not sure is because Limbot is one color, my worsted is another color, so I'm not sure about that. But we have some time before we need to get back on the horse again. Right now, what we are doing is looking for some of those seeds. Okay, here we have it. So here we have one out of Farnes. And I hope you're paying good attention to this, right? On one hand, the names of these 3 fallen Ents that we are looking for, because there's more to these seeds than just this. And this is one of the reasons I am not a big fan of this update and the dailies it came with. Carnimedius. And Lazimista. You can see all the devastation in here. Last time we were in here, well, it looked bad and the vegetation was mostly destroyed, much like what we are seeing today, but at least Quickbeam's grove still had some traces of grain in it, but no more. So as Quickbeam has said, well, Saruman did bring this into himself, so we are here seeing the aftermath also of Saruman's folly. remember also the last time we were in this camp? Was not as hard as I remembered, but was indeed a lot of fun. No one left in here, which is to be expected, of course. Okay, I see now, Las Amistas. And why am I still not riding Limbot? You might remember when I got my worsted in a wall. I did ride Limbot for a while. I mean, Limbot, you might remember, we need to go way back. We left Limbot at Rivendell Stables when we departed with the Grey Company, but Limbot was brought to Lothlorien when, well, Galadriel asked Limbot to be brought to Lothlorien, so that way we found Limbot again after we went there following Nona's dream. So that means that we technically went with Limbot to the Great River and the Wall. But after we were given our worsteds, my head, Beriathan left Limbot at the stable, at one of the stables in East Rohan, because he knew he needed the speed from the worsted. So the way in which I'm also assembling the story in my head is Théoden will also have Limbot brought to Dunharrow as a sign of thanks for Beriathan. Or maybe Beriathan asked him to bring it before leaving with the Ents. In any case, Beriathan will reunite with Limbot in Dunharrow.
Stand now and rest a while.
Ah, perhaps not all is lost then, Beriathan. With these seeds, new life can spring forth in the valley. 2 of these seeds shall remain in my keeping, little one, and I shall return to the forest. As for Las Amistas seed, plant it at the base of Orthanc and let us see what the tree killer thinks of that. Arum. Saruman shall rot in his tower as the forest bursts forth around him. That's very poetic, Quickbeam. I do enjoy that idea a lot. Very poetic indeed. So yeah, let us go back to Orthanc and plant Las Amistas seed, and then after that I think we'll finally get the chance of going to Fangorn. In the meantime though, I can tell you something about, well, we didn't have enough time during the last episode for me to give you my peace of mind on Volume 3, so let me give you my thoughts on it. I love Volume 3. Long story short, I love it. It was the first time we started getting closer to the events of the books, and I loved that. I loved what they did with the Grey Company, how they were able to make such a big quest line from a relatively small detail in the books. The Grey Company, of course, they appear in there, but just a chapter or 2. But the fact that we get to master the Grey Company and then ride with them to the south, I think it was very clever. We already knew most of those rangers, so there was also a personal attachment to those characters that made the story that much more interesting for us. So there was, Volume 3 had a lot going for it, and it's really long as well. You will realize Volume 3 is almost, we took, you have planted Las Amistas seed at the base of Orthanc. Okay, so now we can go to Derndingle and talk to Quickbeam. So as I was saying, for Volume 3 we took almost as much time as we did with Volume 1 and Volume 2 combined. For Volume 1 and Volume 2 we spent 150 episodes, and for Volume 3 it was almost another 150. Which is insane if you stop to think about it, because Volume 1 and 2 cover from level 1 to level 65. 65 levels. And Volume 3 goes from level 65 to level 95. Just 30 levels. Less than half. But still, it's very substantial, everything that we do. And it's a big travel. And since it's such a big travel, it's also a little difficult. Talking about Volume 3 in general, because we had gathering the Great Company in Eriador, but also the journey through Eregion, Enedoaith, Dunland, Isengard, the Gap of Rohan. Then we parted ways with the Great Company, and we came to the Great River, East Rohan and West Rohan, which were huge, and I'm also including Wildermore in that, and also of course this flooded Isengard and everything. Volume 3 has 14 books, and we part ways with the Great Company on book 5, and we enter Rohan in book 7. So for a while, until we got the conclusion, until we got book 14, for a big while, I wondered the name of this volume, Allies of the King, is it referencing the allies of Aragorn or the allies of Théoden? Because it could go either way. Luckily, I think the devs knew that confusion was understandable, and that's why Halvarad explains that at the end of book 14. The allies of the king were indeed the allies of Aragorn, which is really cool. And we also got that clarification. So here we are at Derndingle, where the Entmoot took place. Funny story. Just this morning, as of the time of recording, of course, I was watching an interview Stephen Colbert had with Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd, Merry and Pippin in the movies, and they asked him some Lord of the Rings questions, because, well, Stephen Colbert is an encyclopedia of Tolkien lore. But Billy Boyd asked him what was the name of the place where the Entmoot took place, where in Fangorn specifically did the Entmoot took place, and Stephen Colbert couldn't remember that. I did. But I think that's partly because I was about to come here. And I think that's the only time I have seen Stephen Colbert stumbled by a Lord of the Rings question.
Home. You are a hasty folk.
I trust you found your way without too much trouble, Beriathan? We have done as much as we can at Isengard, but my attention must turn back to the forest before its upheaval can bring any more harm to it.
Home now. What business have you with the Ents?
Room. I have returned not a moment too soon, Beriathan. Can you hear it, little one? These woods are angry and have been thrust into chaos in our wake. I worry for what has become of my fellow Ents' homes and what could be lurking beyond our sight. If you would search Tribute's home, the Mead to the north, and even look about the trees here in Derndingle, we can move to settle the forest once more.
You should not be giving your right name away like so.
If we are to reclaim this forest, it will take more than the two of us, little one. A few of my Huorns still wander these woods, yet I have not seen them in some time. I would ask that you seek them out while I continue to tend to Derndingle. One lurks to the north, another in the forest center to the west, and one off the path to the southwest. Do not fear, Beriathan. My Huorns are gentle so long as you do not aim to bring them harm.
You are far from home.
Okay. So here, as you can see, we get the chance of getting a new skill, a new travel skill for Derndingle. It's a return skill though, so it has a 1 hour cooldown. But it was still really useful back in the day when you needed to do these dailies. But for that we need to get acquaintance with the Ents. We are still not there yet. But if we manage to get acquaintance with the Ents, we'll barter for that travel skill. What else do we have in here? Some crafting recipes. And this horn. More crafting recipes. So yeah, basically that. The travel skill. What we need. Look around from the center of Derndingle. Oh, come on. You see nothing strange around Derndingle. Okay. We'll continue looking. So as I was saying, Volume 3, it's really hard to review because of that, because how big and how long it is. And how all the different things that happen in it. The mastering of the Great Company, the journey south all the way to the Gap of Rohan, the battle at the Forts of the Ice and Théoden's death, known as Dream, Horn, Théoden, East Rohan, West Rohan, Théoden, the Battle of Helm's Deep, Isengard. This horn has gone treach and will not awake as others might. Okay. So yeah, it's easy to forget some of the things that happen, some of the places you visit. But I think this is the moment in which LOTRO became a little bit more linear for the sake of the story, as we have already discussed. This horn has been slain by the insects and wood trolls of the forest. Oh my god. Poor guy. As you can see here, we also have the chance of going through the broad acres and the stone dims through Derndingle, so there's that. But what can I say to you? I mean, basically that's it. I loved Volume 3, especially for the Grey Company. I'm really big fan of Aragorn, as I have already told you, so riding with the Grey Company with him, knowing that he was about to fulfill his destiny, that was really exciting. And all the twists and turns, that's also something that Ebb said when the Grey Company started their journey. We are traveling with more than 30 rangers, but that's a long journey, so of course a lot of things are gonna happen to make sure that only 30 rangers come to Aragorn's aid, so that we can stay loyal to the books. Starting with Candite's death, and all the other rangers that died, but also some of the rangers that stayed behind, that returned. And some more that will also, if I remember correctly, meet untimely ends as well. So yeah, in a way, Volume 3, you can split Volume 3 into different halves. The Grey Company half and the Rohan half. The Huorn does not respond to your approach. The Huorn stirs from its rest and begins walking towards Derndingle. That was easy. That was way easy than the last time we needed to wake Huorns and Ents. We need to... Sorry. We need to talk to Quickbeam, but... Let us first finish... What do we do first? Do we finish scouting Fangorn, or will Quickbeam have another quest for us? Because some of these quests will become dailies, so there is not much to them. At least not for now, but I don't remember if at some point you will unlock more quests that will lead you to more dailies. We are already here, might as well talk to him.
Stand now and rest a while.
I am saddened to hear that 2 more of my friends have fallen silent, but I am grateful to see this dear Huorn once more. I only wish I could have returned sooner to help them. He has long wandered these woods, and we have known each other well in our time. I can trust him as I am now sure I can trust you. Okay, no more quests. Alright. Bundle of leaves. I mean, this sucks. We already have plenty of leaves to barter for the return skill, but not the reputation for that. Anyway, we'll stick to the road and continue our other quest. So yeah, the Grey Company half from Eriador through the Gap of Rohan, and then the Rohan half from East Rohan and Helm's Deep from Book 7 to Book 14. And in the middle we have this kind of bridge between the two with Nona and the Great River, Horn. We also get to meet Théoden as well. And we form our own company. And that's something that I also enjoy. I already told you about that as well, but journeying with Théoden, Horn and Nona was a lot of fun and added a lot of character to the journey in itself, and it was really cool having our own fellowship. You have seen already, I do enjoy Nona's character a lot. She manages to make me laugh more than a couple times. Horn, the meat is fraught with brambles and you can faintly hear nearby chittering. Okay, that's it. No dates in here, that's weird. I thought there were some dates. Anyway, Horn, I know there are some players who don't like Horn's character at all, but I do enjoy Horn's character. It was also as well very moving, like very concerning, worrying, knowing what will happen to Horn at the Battle of the Pelinor's Fields, what we know from the books. So seeing everything that Horn went through during Volume 3, knowing how it was gonna end, that's bittersweet, of course. How their relationship with Nona evolves, how each other evolve as they spend more time together, and how they are able to create that unpredictable, no one could have predicted, a love blooming between a Dunlending and a Rohirrim, at least not at first. I also told you about that, how the LOTRO team also took great effort in giving a twist to the conceptions we have about the Dunlendings. They are not all evil. Of course, there are Dunlendings who resisted Saruman. There are good Dunlendings as well, and Nona embodies all that. So going with them and witnessing their doubts, their victories, and everything that also was also very well done. Nona's and Horn meeting in Wildermore, and they holding hands after the epic is done. That hits all the right places. Korudan, we still don't know what has happened to Korudan as of the time of recording this. I hope at some time we get to know what happened to him. He left to scout the Derndingles. We have not heard nothing else about him. Korudan was kinda there. Out of all the three, I think the one I care for the least is Korudan. He has a cool story as well, being Sigilet's brother. So I hope the devs don't forget about him. But Wallenhall appears calm, but the growls of wood trolls can be heard to the northeast. It's a shame though that we cannot drink Treebeard's water. Can you imagine if we were able to grow like getting to be as tall as a Lendil? That would be great. So as I was saying, Korudan kind of suffers from let us call it elf syndrome. I mean, a lot of elves, by being so wise and so calm and so, in a way, detached from conflict, they are not that interesting, in my opinion. So I think Korudan suffers a little bit from that. I mean, they are too perfect and they know a lot. So, in a way, they are there just to teach you things and to guide you through the adventure. But I don't think Korudan got the chance of growing as much as Horn and Nona did. We also of course got a chance of meeting Eomer, Grima, Eowyn, Théoden, Elfhelm. A lot of Rohirrims that were also mentioned during the Battle of Pelennor Fields that will die at the Battle of Pelennor Fields. There are so many of them that I wouldn't be able to name them all without the book. But off the top of my head, Fastred, Goodlaugh, Théoden's Banner Bearer, God, the Thane of Woodhurst. Oh my god, I forgot his name right now. I mean, there are a lot of Rohirrim that will come to meet an untimely end at the Pelennor Fields. Clearwine as well, he is also mentioned briefly in the books. We got to know a little bit more, but he's also kind of there as a framing device, as a narrative device, especially for what will come later at Pelennor. But that was also really nice as well, like seeing the company, the Fellowship grow. I mean, it was not set in stone. At first, it's just you and Nona, then you, Nona, and Korudan, then Horn joins the party, then Clearwine joins the party. So bit by bit, you start knowing more people, and that makes the journey all the more fun, having all the different perspectives on each happening. And of course, it all is capped by the Battle of Helm's Deep, something that a lot of players were insanely excited to see, to witness, to be a part of. I already told you a little bit about that during our episode with the epic battles. Not a lot of players like them. There are many reasons for that, but still, that is a very momentous episode in the story. So it was very important for us to say it, and that's the first big battle during the War of the Ring, and us being able to take part in it. I mean, Volume 3, once again, had a lot going for it, and I think Volume 3 was able to deliver as well.
You are far from home.
These are not good tidings, Beriathan. I am thankful that Derndingle is free of threats, or we can begin our task of reclaiming the forest from this very spot. However, the wood trolls concern me greatly, and to hear chittering at such a distance leads me to think the insects have grown beyond our control. I must think on what we are to do next, little one.
Home now. What business have you with the Ents?
Ah, little one. I think the time has come to conclude what we began at Isengard. I hold in my hand the seeds of Hornburg and Carnimidie, my beautiful Rowan friends. I wish to plant them here, closer to my home, so the brilliance of their descendants might match the grace they once possessed. I would ask you to travel north to plant them, to the Eastful Mead. Although the land nearby has been scarred by brambles, I can think of no better place for them to take root. Thank you, Beriathan. Yeah, Volume 3 was great. I mean, I don't know what else I can say about it. Being so long, it had a lot of ups and downs for sure. The epic, for example, the epic in Dunland was a little bit tedious at times. Right up to the point where we got imprisoned at Isengard. All the lead up to that was just there, in a way. But what happened in Enedwide with Nar and Ergothorn and the Grey Company, that was amazing. And all those session plays with Candide telling you the history of the Dunedain, that was A+ in my book. The Great River, I loved everything about the Great River. I love the place, I love the environments, I love the stories. All the Great River, I do love it. Rohan was also a very momentous episode in LOTRO's history as well. I think the depths outdid themselves with Rohan. East Rohan especially. West Rohan is kind of a copy-paste of what came before, and it's also very repetitive within itself. A lot of Grima agents and that kind of stuff, like building up to the battle, but it does overstay its welcome at times. To the point that Helm's Deep, the expansion, seems a lot longer than it really is. I really thought I was gonna take a lot more time doing West Rohan, but it was actually really short. But riding through the plains of Rohan, I mean, that feeling is unparalleled. Like, experiencing Rohan, that's something that deserves to be seen. You have arrived at the Eastful Mead, and you should plant the seeds of Hornburg and Carnimidie. That's 1. And that's 2. Talk to Quickbeam, okay. So yeah, I think for the most part, Volume 3, it's really good. It does stumble a little in Dunland and Western Rohan up to the point of the Battle of Helm's Deep. But they were doing a lot of things there. And they also introduced us to a lot of characters that will also will be very important later. And this leads directly into Volume 2. Into Volume 4. It's not like Volume 1 and Volume 2 that are separate things. And also Volume 3 is a separate thing from Volume 1 and Volume 2. But they tie directly between each other. As a matter of fact, I think... I of course have no evidence about this, but I think the initial plan was for Volume 3 to go from the Gathering of the Great Company all the way up to the battle at the Black Gate. But that would have been a very, very long epic. So I think at some point the devs realized that was a lot to do in one single volume, and they decided to split it into... and this is the best place to split the story in two, and that also gave them the chance to skip some of the story parts I already told you about. Because, yeah, that name, Allies of the King, that always led me to believe we're gonna... Well, we're aiding Aragorn, but if we're aiding Aragorn, that means aiding him to the very end, and that includes Battle at Black Gate. So... Volume 3, in my opinion, also marks the point in which LOTRO's storytelling started to grow and to become more complex and more elaborate. Because this goes directly into Volume 4, Volume 4 goes directly into the Black Book of Mordor, and the end of the Black Book of Mordor is such an amazing ending to everything that has happened up to that point, that it's in another level. But I think the seeds of that are right here on Volume 3. So once again, as I have told you before in my review of Volume 1, you don't have to like everything that LOTRO does. The game has a lot of ups and downs. In my opinion, Update 13 was its lowest. I hated this with a passion. I hated this place with a passion. But I have also loved many other places in game so much that in the end, you gotta appreciate everything the game does. The epic stories they're able to tell, and how they're always able to stay in line with the books, even after 15 years. That's amazing. That's totally amazing and mind-blowing in my opinion. And I hope once again that we have many years of LOTRO to come, because there are still so many stories left to tell in Middle-earth, and I hope that we will get to be there to live them all. So yeah, a little bit fragmented maybe, but those are my thoughts on Volume 3. I thought it important to be able to tell you all of this before we began Volume 4, because the story is starting to ramp up and it's gonna get its momentum and it's not gonna stop. So yeah, this moment was very much needed.
Stand now and rest a while.
Oh, you have done me a great honor, Beriathan. Although my Rowan friends are gone, their sacrifice will give way to new life in the forest. In time, I am certain I shall look upon their descendants with the same fondness I once held for them. Tarun, we shall reclaim the forest yet.
Let's not be hasty.
You have done much to earn my trust, Beriathan. Times are truly different from when we met in Nan-Hurunir. But protecting the forest from itself is another matter entirely. To keep the tree killer from causing any more harm, we were forced to take action, but the cost was great to all. We Ents are responsible for maintaining order, and without us to tend the Huorns and bug lurkers, some have grown wild and confused. My Huorn friend you found shall be your companion, and so you may seek out the troubles in the forest before they find us. There you go. And I think these are all the dailies that we'll get.
What business have you with the Ents?
Carnivorous Seed, Derndingle, that's a crafting instance.
Hasty.
Gamestead, another crafting instance. Lasemiste seed, Autofarness seed. Quietly north of Derndingle.
Now, what business have you with the Ents?
Tenda Forest north of Derndingle, and Stangraf, which is another
Giving your right name
crafting
away
instance.
like so.
So let me see. Most of these dailies, as you see, are crafting instances that we don't necessarily need to do. They wouldn't advance the story that much. These seed quests, they require you to advance them bit by bit on a daily basis. So, for example, you will go them and water them some, and then you will need to return the next day to unlock the next stage of the quest and do some more. I remember the dev diary for this area was talking about this feature as it was the second coming of Jesus, basically. But in my opinion, it's nothing special. It makes the quest all the more tedious. You need to wait a lot of days to get the reward for a single quest. And the rewards are not that worth it, if you ask me. So yeah, those seed quests, very annoying. Too much work for too little reward. And this one here, quieting north of Derndingle.
Hasty.
I'm not sure what this one is about, so well, maybe we can pick this one. When we march on Isengard, the forest was awoken. It is very angry with the actions of the wizard we trusted. Too angry, I cannot calm it myself. Please tend the forest north of Derndingle. Not exactly sure what that will do, but yeah, we're gonna skip the crafting instances and the seeds, as I don't think we'll get too much out of it. And instead, we'll need to explore the forest with Quickbeam's Huorns. Will we unlock any more quests with him? I don't remember. I mean, leaf piles are smothering the undergrowth north of Derndingle. No, it seems not. It seems... Leaf pile. Oh no, yeah. That will start the quest. Quickbeam's Huorns appears to be trying to draw your attention. You have encountered a young Huorn and your companion swiftly shuffles to its side, as if to defend it. You cannot quite tell, but Quickbeam's Huorn appears upset that it has been left to fend for itself in this empty, dangerous forest. You should continue your search for other lost Huorns and then bring them to safety in Derndingle. Okay. So like this. Oh my god. Don't tell me we'll have we'll have Huorn after Huorn following us. That only makes traversing this place harder. They obstruct your field of view. And there's not a lot that you can do about that. Okay, we can return to Quickbeam. We'll just need to to find some more Huorns, it seems. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, really. Supposed to be another Huorn up top. Quickbeam's Huorn appears to be trying to draw your attention. Okay, you have another quest. As you wander through the middle of Fangorn Forest, you notice Quickbeam's Huorn picking up small objects from the ground nearby and stowing them on itself. Upon closer inspection, you notice it has been gathering seed pods from the forest floor, especially those that have fallen into the shadows. You are not quite certain why Quickbeam's Huorn is collecting them, but you decide to aid in gathering seed pods. As Quickbeam's Huorns marches about above the Ents banks, you notice it begin to swat its branches at the nearby wood flies, narrowly missing your head in the process. In the absence of the Ents and most other Huorns, it is clear that these disease-laden flies have grown unchecked and wild. You should aid the Huorn in culling their numbers. And I will be more than happy to do so if you let me see where I'm going. I was certain there were some extra deeds in Fangorn. It's a shame there aren't. Oh, come on. Alrighty. Lost Huorn, okay. This is the last one. Bring the lost Huorns to Derndingle, alright. But first I need some pods and some flies. Oh jeez. Let's apply the dot, let's hope that is enough. Let us continue looking for more flies, more seed pods. Jesus, please, stop following me. So close, I mean, I can barely see anything. Seed pods, thank you. We're still missing a lot of these. Okay, there's one here. Seems we need to keep looking to the north for more seed pods, but I don't see. Okay. Okay, we need to go a little bit west. Iron deposits, a lot of them, but no sign of... Okay, here. Quickbeam's Huorns seems pleased that you have made an effort to rid the forest of disease-laden woodflies. You slew many of their number, and judging by numerous crushed wings stuck to the Huorns branches, so did it. Knew it! Stewards of Fangorn, I knew it. There had to be some deeds for this. Okay. Gotta complete these 12 quests. And I think that's what the Forest Without Frontiers will do for us. Guide us through the location of each one of these quests so that we can complete them. Virtue XP? No? Oh my god, that sucks. Yeah, that's right. Throw it away. Okay, here is the last one. You pause to present the seed pods to Quickbeam's Warden. Unaware of any other means to deliver the seeds to your large companion, you tuck them into a notch in its trunk. The Huorn shatters, hurling a seed pod down to the nearby earth, and then gently puts it into the soil. Taking this as a sign that the Huorn will disperse the seed pods itself, you decide to press on. Okay. So we can technically do a lot more things in here, as you see by this deed. We still need to complete 10 more quests. But I think we'll need to leave that for another episode, seeing as we are already hard pressed for time, I think. So let us go back to Derndingle so that we can talk to Quickbeam about the other Huorns that we found. And that's also the perfect resting spot for us to regroup with our new Huorn friend. Keep attacking you, that's so annoying. Okay. Almost there. Derndingle.
Stand now and rest a while.
The forest is safer. Yeah.
Let's not be hasty.
So what should we do with this? I'm not sure. Anyway, we are at the end of the episode, so I'm gonna take the chance to review what else there is to be done here in Fangorn, so that we can finish all that on the next episode. For the time being, this has been all on today's episode of Citadel Guard Adventures. So thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, my friends, stay safe, take care, Good luck to you all, and I will see you later.